Let's go. That's the energy today. The energy is that it's 6 a.m. We're up, we're ready, we're excited. And that's because it's the middle of the week, number one. That means we're 2 days closer to the weekend. That means it's going to be a nice one. Good morning, Congo Chris. Good morning, everybody that's tuned in via our app. Good morning to you. If it is your first time rocking with the Gareth Cliff Show, this is probably the first day of the rest of your life. Things are about to change for you. I don't want to give away too much, but your life's about to be even greater. My name is umkhomazi, in case you're wondering. And of course, this is cliffcentral.com. And today's going to be a really good show. I am joined by the beautiful Simbiwe Mtetwa. She'll be joining me today, as well as our homeboy, Flax. He's also going to be joining us today. So it's going to be a very nice, chill show. Congo Chris is saying he can't believe that worked. Bro, it's 6 a.m. Let's go. Thank you so much for being with us, man. We've got a really nice show lined up for you. So we've got some blind history coming up later on, which is always just such a top podcast. Like blind history is it's like the history lesson you didn't ask for in your adult life. Like some of us left history in the past. It's there in school and we never looked back. And then Cliff Central said, come here, let me give you a little something. So that's definitely something to look forward to if that's your vibe a little bit later on. As I mentioned, Simpure is in the building, Flax is in the building. Good morning to Zuzi Lezungu in the comments. How are you doing, homegirl? It is so nice to be hanging out with you. How are you doing, honey bun?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. How are you feeling?
Feeling good. I'm a bit tired, but it's a Wednesday, so
Wednesday is a good thing, girl. It means like tomorrow we thing on Thursday, like knock knock. Thursday it's us, and then Friday we are on. It's the weekend, baby. And then you should be more excited because it's like low key, high key, got to your birthday.
yeah. Who is it?
Okay, well, Simpia's just gonna go think about her life for a little bit. But in the meantime, I hope you're good. I hope you're up. I hope you're ready. To have a jam-packed show. There's so much in store. Like I was going through the news headlines and I was just like, oh my word, there's so much happening in the country all the time. And man, we just have to just keep it moving and kind of cooperate. We had family meeting last night. When last did the president actually call us together and say, come my children, come to the living room, let me talk? Like it's been a while and it kind of caught me off guard. I don't know if you actually, hey, Michael is
What's
early.
happening?
How you doing?
I was like, when is my image coming up on screen?
Sim decided, you know what, let me just throw him in there and just like surprise you. Morning, how you doing, bro?
Oh, I cannot complain. I was actually like just thinking we should be so grateful to be awake because like certain people didn't wake up this morning. So if you are awake, you live life today.
100%. Some people are still snoring right now. Some people, unfortunately, won't even be able. Like they're probably only going to wake up later. So, like, at least we decided to be up early. And you're absolutely right. Like, let's just be grateful for the fact that we are actually given the opportunity to even be awake and alive and breathing together. I think that's what's
100%.
Important, bro.
No one ever thinks of that. No one ever wakes up and is like, I'm grateful to be awake, where some people didn't have the opportunity of waking up today. Because you have every percentage chance of dying in your sleep, but you didn't.
Wow. That's what a way to start the morning,
Michael.
bro.
You're part of the percentage that was chosen to live today rather than get taken in your sleep. So that means you're here for a reason. As 50 Cent says, I'm here for a real reason.
You in the afternoon.
Like I got hit, but he ain't breathing.
Yo, damn. Okay, if that doesn't make you grateful for life, then how you been? How was your long weekend, Flags?
It was honestly one of the greatest weekends I've had in years. I decided I'm no longer doing the things that my friends enjoy that I don't enjoy. I'm just doing the things I enjoy from now on. And you'd be surprised at the things I enjoy now.
How did you discover that you no longer enjoy the things that you previously enjoyed and now you enjoy new things?
My friends, they like to party. They're still in that party phase where they party and they drink. And I was like, I do not enjoy drinking alcohol and waking up hungover anymore. So I started replacing that with healthy habits. So Sunday morning is yoga. So I can't get drunk on a Saturday night anymore. I meet Lizzie for yoga on Sunday morning. It's important to be like in a good mental state. So no drinking on Saturday nights anymore. And then I was like, wow, you have so much more time in your day when you're not hungover and lying in bed and just wasting it away. Yeah. So I cut out the partying. I will go like partying. I'll go to a club, but I won't drink. And you think it's boring. It's really a lot of fun because you remember the entire night. You get home, even if you get home at like 1, 2 in the morning, you still have so much energy the next day. You're not hungover. You can have a full Sunday and do exactly what you want. So I'll go out to the club. I just won't drink. And then during the day, I'll do things I enjoy. I woke up, Sunday morning, and I was like, I'm taking myself for breakfast. And I went, have you guys ever been to Lifestyle Center in Randburg? It's like that garden shop. Is it just me here? Are you guys here? Oh, I can't hear you guys. I think as the number one saying for 2022, I think you're on mute.
What? No, don't
I can definitely hear myself, and I can hear you. Can you not hear us?
I can hear you guys. Yeah, now I can hear you guys.
Oh, okay, cool. So is this the same place as like the Brightwater Commons or the old Randburg waterfront, or is this like a whole different place?
I think it's the same place. That place used to be a vibe. I remember going to do like bumper cars there, but like in the water, and then they had laser tag there. But it's now a garden shop. Okay. And I did breakfast there on my own, took a laptop. It was honestly the greatest breakfast I've had. And then I went and I bought like a whole bunch of plants and then a whole bunch of pots. And I came home and I spent like majority of Sunday, I don't know if the word's potting, but I started replanting these plants from their normal their normal pots into new pots and sorting out the soil. And now I've like these beautiful plants. And then I had like leftover pot plants and I have a whole bunch of succulents. And I was like, I'm making my friends some succulent plants. And then I just got into gardening. It is such a vibe.
Okay, I need to ask. I mean, this sounds very exciting. It sounds very like clean, healthy living. And I 100% support this. Let's take a step back. So for you to decide that you don't want to party anymore with your friends or whatever, was this something you have been thinking about for a while? Or did it just happen like abruptly this past weekend? Like, I'm stopping. Today's the day. I am no longer involved. Or is this like a gradual thing that you got into? Like, let me slow down on the drinking and now I'm stopping to drink. Or was it just like you woke up and you said, you know what, this is the day?
So I'm the type of person where I go cold turkey in a second. I come up with an idea or a thought and I execute it straight away. I was hating the feeling of being hungover. I literally, it made me so sad inside to know I was wasting a day. So on that day, I had that thought. I just cut it straight away. I was like, I can drink, but I don't have to get drunk. And I'm only going to drink maximum once a week if I ever do drink. Yeah. And then I just cold turkey and I'm literally living the best life now. Because that's nice. I love going to like CrossFit on Saturday. I'm addicted to CrossFit. It is one of the healthiest addictions to have. And if I'm getting drunk on a Friday night, I can't go to CrossFit on the Saturday and give my best. So what would I rather choose? Going out, getting drunk on a Friday night, or doing CrossFit, getting in a healthy mindset, healthy body on a Saturday? Like, it's a no-brainer. We just don't take the time to think about our other options to not being hungover or getting drunk on a Friday or Saturday night.
That's true. I also think like because we kind of grow up, like we live in a country where like I think are we like the number 1 or the number 2 most drinkers, I think. And it just almost seems easy because we've been doing it for so long. Like, oh, it's easy to just like link up with your friends and have a sneaky drink. And then you get to like a certain age when your body just doesn't respond in the way that it previously did. Hangovers go from taking 20 minutes to 2-3 days. And you're like, I'm wasting an entire weekend. Whereas I could be doing other things like yoga, like, you know, morning
how I feel.
Fitness, blah, blah, blah. So good for you, dude. I think that's a nice place to be. I just hope it's something you can sustain, because I know a lot of people that have also just like gone cold turkey and then it kind of backfires. So you don't sound like the type. You sound like the type of person that really like puts your mind to something and it happens. So if that's the case, let's like check back in like in the next 6 months and see how the process is going. Because if your friends are your friends, they will try everything in their power to get you back into the streets. That's just what friends do. Like, friends are about that life.
The second I went out with him, I said, guys, listen, I'm not drinking tonight. You can either
Yeah.
put pressure on me to drink and I'm going to leave, or not put pressure and we can have a fun time. And they actually reported that we all had the most fun. They didn't even recognize I was drunk. What I was doing was I was the one pouring the shots for everyone. So I was getting everyone else wasted. So I was still like included in the entire night. And then I'd get messages like on Sunday morning, like, Flax, you got us wasted. And I was like, guys, I didn't even drink. And we had a jaw.
Yeah.
So like, you just have to replace.
You nailed it.
The keys to replace. You need to replace every bad habit with a good habit. You can't leave one bad habit untouched. Otherwise, there's a void. So like the no drinking on a Saturday night is to enjoy yoga on the Sunday. So everything's replaced. So it still carries meaning and it has purpose at the end of the day. Otherwise, you're just creating a blank void for reason. We don't attach reason to things enough in life. So we'll just say we're not doing something, but we never ask ourselves why we're not doing it. And once we have the why we're not doing it, then it's like solid set in stone.
Jeez, yo, that's hectic. It's making me literally like rethink my life now. Like, actually, what do I do on weekends other than like chill with my kids? I generally would like to explore like the hobby, avenue, like go out to markets more and maybe try new different things. But I think also realistically, the idea of having a hobby or that kind of thing, again, if you've been practicing getting lit with your friends every single weekend for the past 10 years, something needs to happen for you to just, as you're saying, just like stop and be like, actually, there has to be more to life than just continuously getting drunk. I mean, for most people, like I said, it's, you can't maybe recover in the same time that you did, or you realize that there's a cost. All the time you're spending getting turned up, it's time you're losing with your family, or it's time you're losing with your work, or time you're losing with like doing the things that you actually love. And you kind of lose sight of the things that you love because you start practicing these other habits. So yeah, man, I'm excited for you, dude. I think this is the beginning of it's a new you. It's Flax 2.0 after all.
What you just said now was like the saddest statement ever. You lose sight of the things you love, and you should never lose sight of the things you love. Anything that's getting in the way of you not seeing what you actually love, you should cut straight away. It's a bad habit.
100%. But it's easier said than done. I mean, that's for sure. So Dude69 in the comments, hi Dude69, one of my faves. He says, I am a weekend alcoholic. I tell myself I'm not drinking this coming weekend, but we'll probably wake up with a hangover every morning of the weekend. And I don't think he's alone. I think a lot of people are just like, we're there now where it's like, it's a weekend, one beer won't hurt. One beer turns into 2 beers, 2 beers turns into 4 beers, 4 beers turn into 10, and then I'm drunk. You know what I mean? It's just things that we practice over and over again. But yeah, like I think again, let's check in with you in the next couple of months, because I actually I'm rooting for you, I'm supporting you, and you better make this happen. Like, don't come back next week and be like, yeah guys, I tried it, like next thing I just like find myself like one tequila later or whatever the case is. Like, keep focused, bro, so you can like do your thing and inspire the rest of us to be great. That's dope. So would you ever consider like, just like cold turkey, no more, I'm done drinking?
Yeah, I'm on that right now.
For real?
Yes.
You also went cold turkey, so it wasn't a process.
Nah, I went to a housewarming and then I was like to my friends, well, I've stopped drinking, guys, so this is me. They're like, you lie. And because I've done it before, like, oh guys, I'm on a sabbatical. They're just like, you're gonna come back? I was like, we'll see. And I just haven't been drinking, and since my birthday's coming up, they're like, yeah girl, we'll see if you really stop drinking. But I am a bit over alcohol at this moment in time. As I turn a year older, I realize some things I can do without.
Yeah, and it doesn't need to
How
be
old are you
like
turning?
Yeah.
How do I look?
How dare you ask a woman her age?
Circle of trust here. I've also got ages I'm turning this year.
I mean, you can guess.
You can take a nice guess.
You can take a nice, operative word being nice. Take a nice guess.
See, I feel like we might be the same age, but you definitely look younger than I am. So I'm not even going to test this water anymore.
Now I really want to know.
Lowball it and say 26, 27.
That's actually quite good. I'm turning 27.
Oh,
And
nice.
like since I'm a March baby, I always do the thing of like, what am I doing with my life? Like, what have I achieved the past year? And I think one of the things I was just like, I think I live a fairly decent life. Like I like going out with friends, but not partying. Like I'll go to a new market, I'll go to a new restaurant, like sign me up.
Yeah.
But I think part of that is also like the drinking, and then you realize we've been at this place for 3 hours. Now we need another, after party space. And now we need to just kind of leave at 1 o'clock. And I'm like, okay, I'm done with that life. Like I want to be able to go somewhere, have breakfast, maybe brunch, lunch at most, and 6 o'clock be home.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
But
But
like you've done it. Like you've done
Yeah.
it all to the point where
Like,
it's now
there's
like you
nothing
need something
else.
new.
Yeah, like I get excited to like be home and just Netflix and chill, one man, and just like
One
be in my
man.
room.
All by your itty bitty self. Hopefully
Yes.
with your human-sized teddy bear. Flax, that's on Simpiwa's birthday list. I don't know what you're planning on getting her. But she wants a human-sized teddy bear. And I think, you know what? She
Yes.
deserves it. Just give her what she wants. She deserves
I've been asking
it.
for this for the past 10 years. So
Human.
intake nudge, nudge, guys.
Where are you gonna put it?
In my room, child. In my room.
on the bed.
Where's there gonna be space for a boyfriend when he comes along?
Like, isn't this like practice for the boyfriend? Like, like, okay, this is what it's like to share a bed with someone, blah, blah, blah. When you wake up, you have to roll over. Like, I think it's a good start because, just like going from not having a boyfriend to suddenly having a boyfriend it's a thing, especially if you haven't had one for a while.
I'm loving my single stage, guys. Let me just say that. I am absolutely I am happily single. And so for me, like having just a human-sized teddy bear right next to me now and again, it's just like paradise. I don't think I could be like that with a human all day, every day. No.
Let's flip that round. Some people, let's say you walked into a guy's room that you may be seeing, and he has a human-sized teddy bear in his bed.
Oh,
What is your first reaction?
I'm gonna be a bit worried. Why does he have this?
Exactly.
Who bought it for him? Who bought him that? Like,
Exactly.
who's
Who
the
bought
ex
you the
that you
human-sized
still
teddy?
Yeah.
not over?
Yeah, that's definitely something to consider.
I think because I'm me and you, and I get to kind of say that you can't judge me for wanting a human-sized teddy bear. I'm sorry, what? No, that's not gonna work. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with me wanting a human-sized teddy bear.
How about you get it for yourself? Because I think that way you're completely absolved from like any. No, it's from or the person. It's from you to you. If it's that important to you, and then in future, if a boyfriend does come along, then it's like, oh, babe, I bought myself a teddy bear a year ago, and that's that on that.
No, there's some gifts that I absolutely refuse to buy for me, myself, and I think they need to be gifted, from someone else to you. So that's one of them. Like I can buy myself all the tech in the world, but a human-sized teddy bear, come on, guys. I think that is so great to say, guys, someone bought me a human-sized teddy bear. I have the image playing out in my mind. I want to live that out one day, someday.
Hey man, do you? I think like let's just let her do her thing because clearly she's quite convinced that it's the right path. So, dude, we support you. We support you, and we hope that you get your
I'm
human-sized.
not supporting the human-sized teddy bear. I think this is a dumb idea. I think downsized to a normal-sized teddy bear. There's no need for a human-sized teddy bear to be in the room.
I have a few of those normal size teddies, and like one of them is called Ocean, and I love her to bits, but she's had her time to shine. Let other kids shine now, and just want.
When last did you walk? When last did you walk into like a toy store and see like a human-sized teddy bear, or like a shopping center and see a human-sized teddy bear?
It was about a year ago. I
exactly.
did see
you haven't seen one in a year. No one's buying them.
Are we all ignoring the fact that she has like normal sized teddy bears at her age? Did we just ignore that? Like we're just continuing on as though that doesn't matter. Simpiwa literally just said she's got normal sized teddy bears, and one is called Ocean, and that's one. So it means there's multiple. Girl, you definitely need a boyfriend.
You have a cult going on.
Yeah. This is not sounding
healthy.
You have
named your teddy bears.
Your dog. Maybe a pet. maybe a pet, maybe some actual companionship in the form of a pet. Cause Doug, I mean, I've got teddy bears for my kids, cause they're kids.
I'm
You know,
still a
like
kid. What do you mean? I'm the last born in the family.
do your thing, girl. You know what? Like Flax, we're not gonna win this one. Just like let's let her do her thing. I touched a little bit
Tweet you
about
later, eh? no human-sized teddy bear.
there's nothing we can do about Simpia's choices with regards to this. Like, let's let her have it. Did any of you catch the family meeting last night?
Nope.
Damn.
I didn't even know
What
it was
time was
happening. It was like
It was at
just
8.
spurred upon us.
Yeah, like they just decided last minute, okay, let's send like a mass message to the whole country that President Cyril Ramaphosa will be talking. But yeah, just to summarize, I mean, it seems like we don't need to wear masks outside anymore. Yay!
Is that all that
Is this
changed?
effective immediately?
Look, as of now, as of his speech, we don't need to wear masks outside, but we need to wear them inside. There's in your offices, there's certain places.
Oh my god.
I know, Doug. I know.
Okay.
I honestly had my hopes up. I was like, oh, family meeting. Great. He's going to address at least like the price of petrol, the price of body oil, you know, unemployment, this operation Tutula, the things that are on the ground occurring. This man says, yo, take your masks off. Drops mic. That's it. That's it.
He could have tweeted that. Like, that wasn't an hour
Real
meeting
talk.
or anything.
Real talk. Like there was no need for us to all gather and wait in anticipation for like an actual speech from our president. It was in that moment I realized that okay, cool. We are literally on our own, and that's that on that. So I don't know like the official where we can wear masks or we can't. I just know that outside we are good to go. I don't know if you guys have been wearing your masks anyway.
No, you guys have been scammed. Okay, if we need to a whole docu about how we got swindled by our own president. Because let me tell you something, nobody's been wearing masks outside. Like, so
That's
he's
what I'm
just telling us the
saying.
obvious. He wasted your time. I don't know who was up watching the family meeting. He could have tweeted this, as you guys have said, but everybody's already been doing their own thing. All we want is to be able to walk into the stores and restaurants without a mask. And if you're still saying we need them inside, then child, you haven't said anything. You haven't changed anything.
Mhm.
And like this is getting ridiculous.
No, absolutely. Sis Yonda and Deek in the comments is saying, I don't know what Ramaphosa said. Oh, Ramaphosa, my gosh, I need to learn how to read. I don't know what Ramaphosa said. It never matters. The only thing I did know that he says is that a mask in some shops and we can't go to stadium matches. He doesn't run my life, and I'm happier, and we should do all that. Okay, cool. So at least you know Yonda's happy with what the president said. Now it's
mask in all shops. Not just some shops. Not like Woolworths, you don't have to wear a mask, but Checkers you do. It's mask in all shops. But I agree,
dude,
like people are triple vaxxed. Like, what is the point? We were supposed to get vaccinated so that this thing goes away, and then we don't have to do the things to avoid this bad thing. And now we've done the things, but we're still having to do the other things. It makes no sense.
The things, Doug, the things are just not ending. It's just things on things on things. Congo Chris is saying venues that have proof of vax or negative test in 72 hours can operate at fuller capacity than venues that don't. Okay, that's cool. Like if you're a venue owner. And then Mash Mashinini is saying, let's be honest, nothing has changed from this family meeting. The family meeting was just for the currents, agreed. Because people haven't been wearing masks in 2022. That's what I'm saying. Like it hasn't really been a thing, especially outside. Only like when you go into a store, that's when you'll see like maybe security guards start freaking out. I go into Ubers and I'm like, yo, can I take, I'm just gonna take this, I'm putting it in my pocket. Yeah, okay. And it's done. And nobody's there anymore. So I mean, I think most of us are just disappointed about what he spoke about yesterday. He did speak about, you know, the vaccine mandates, as Dave was telling us in the comments. But like after that, then what? There are so many other matters that we really should be focusing on. But here we are with our homeboy Cyril just showing us who he is, reminding us that, yeah, he's the guy. He's the guy. But it is what it is. Let's get into some headlines, guys. There's actually quite a few things happening in the news today. I will kickstart with, I don't know if you guys saw that there was another plane crash, unfortunately, in China. And there hasn't been a plane crash in China since 2010. There were a couple of videos that were circulating. It was quite sad. It was quite deep. So there's currently a grim search for some of the victims and the flight recorders after China's first plane crash since the year 2010. Rescuers in China sourced heavily four-stepped slopes on Tuesday. So basically this like plane crash like in the mountains. It was all very, very, very
like
unfortunate.
Nosedived. There's a video where it's literally just plummeting down. It is like my worst nightmare. Literally that and the plane cutting in half in the sky is my second worst nightmare.
Okay.
But like a full nosedive, like roller coaster down.
New type thing. There were 130 people aboard the China Eastern Airlines passenger jet that crashed in the mountains of southern Guangxi. I hope I said that right. Parts of the Boeing 737-800 jet were strewn across mountain slopes charred by fire after China's first crash involving a commercial jetliner since 2010. And burnt remains of identity cards, purses, and wallets were all seen. And this is a report from state media. So, yeah, it's unfortunate and it's tough. And as we said, a lot of this, the footage of it actually crashing into these mountains can honestly just be found on social media. It's not good. It's actually just tough times for China, and we do hope that they are at least able to at least identify find what they can from the crash. In other news, and this is interesting, fans have decided to sign a petition to remove Kanye West from the Coachella lineup. What's a day without news on Kanye West? Like, it's
why? Because he's busy like acting like a fool on the socials. That's why.
Yes, that's actually the real reason, according to them. So, so far over 28,000 people have signed this petition, and they've said that we've watched Kanye harass, manipulate, and hurt Kim, Petey, and others for over a year now, and nobody seems to want to stand up to him, and no one has the guts to do that. And he's put a lot of people under fire, and this is according to the petition. And so Coachella, and with other brand names that will be working with him, should be ashamed of themselves and should not be giving him any more of a platform. So the petition's goal is to get to 35,000 signatures, make it one of the top signed petitions on change.org. Man, I'll just say that Kanye West will probably not be moved by this, because if you're going to try ban him from Coachella, he's going to go start his own Coachella. Yeah. That's all he's going to do. He's got the money. He's got the mindset. He'll absolutely do that. He'll probably take all the Coachella rejects on the very same day as Coachella. He will have a whole full-blown performance. And what are you guys going to do about it? Absolutely nothing.
Why are we all hating on Kanye? Like, what is he doing that's really touching people?
Acting like a fool. That's what he's doing.
Doesn't half of people on social media act like a fool and say whatever they want to say?
But like, there's a line to this acting like a fool. And I think the truth of the matter is Kanye needs to sort himself out. He needs to go get help. And he's just projecting a whole lot of hurt, a whole lot of like anger towards Kim that's unwarranted. And to anyone that's, disagreeing with him or saying anything about Kim Kardashian. And it's just, we're all tired. We all like, fix your life, dude.
Are we hating on him because he's saying things about Kim Kardashian, or because he's just saying his feelings?
He's borderline a stalker right now. That's what he is.
Disclaimer, I'm not hating on Kanye West.
No, but he's borderline being a stalker, and he's just being problematic,
Man's just wants his family back, bro. Sure, he's doing it in a very nonsensical way, but he just wants his kids back, dude. Yes, he's sick. We know that he's sick. But he's also he's one of the most successful artists of our time. And not even just artists, creatives. Creatives generally, we are outrageous. I'm not condoning his behavior, but I'm definitely not going to sit here and hate on Kanye West.
Can I just say this?
No.
Can I just say this? This is the lesson that I've learned in my life. Never, ever allow someone to tell you more than once they don't want you. Kim has been telling this man on multiple occasions that she don't want
Amen.
him.
Kim is also on her 6th marriage or whatever the case is. So lest we forget.
Please,
lest we forget.
I'm just saying that homegirl has said, I don't want you. And she said it several times. Just respect her decision and move on.
Agreed. Moving on, there is concern over a new e-cigarette and vaping rules planned for South Africa. I think I support this off the bat because
Why?
I've seen a lot of people, and by people I mean young, very, very young, like high school students, vaping. And I'm like, okay, cool, sure. I'm sure you're like allowed to, but like, I don't know if it's being used in the right way. Anyway, the Free Market Foundation has raised concerns about the government's plans to regulate e-cigarettes and vaping products, which it says could push more people towards traditional cigarettes and the illicit market. So the regulations will primarily be introduced through the Draft Control of Tobacco Products and Electronic Delivery Systems Bill and new taxes. And this is according to the think tank. So they say that the South African government argues that e-cigarettes and vaping products are harmful and warrant regulation. However, e-cigarettes and vaping innovations are tobacco harm reduction products aimed at mitigating the adverse health impacts associated with combustible tobacco products, it said. So look, maybe I'm not the person to comment on this because I don't smoke, I don't e-smoke, I don't what, I don't e-cigarette, but I'm just like, cool. It just kind of irks me because I've got asthma, so I'm already like out of it. But maybe you guys, have an opinion on it.
I love it how we say it's harmful, so we're going to just regulate it. We're just going to put some control over it. Not it's harmful to the population, so we're going to can it. We're going to cut it out. Nicotine is so damaging to the body. Yet we still sell it. We still tell people to consume it. We stop the advertising of it, but we don't stop the sale of it. We are literally killing the human population, but we're controlling how many we kill a year.
Oh, that's one way to look at it.
I'm not like anti the smoking and all that. I'm anti like the nicotine and the ton, all the bad stuff that's in there. That you sell it as a cigarette, but instead, you should sell it as like a stick with tar and tobacco and all this bad stuff in it. I mean, I can't think of a single health benefit that smoking cigarettes has.
They can't sell it as exactly what it is because then we wouldn't buy it. They'd rather wrap it up in the nice fancy paper and put a bow on it and say, "This is cool, we promise you." And then you end up like smoking 2 packs a day by the time you're like 40 years old. It's pretty hectic. I mean, Congo Chris in the comments is saying obviously that nicotine still has very negative health effects and it does need to be regulated. Flax, do you agree with the vaping? Like, do you think that that's like a nice healthier solve in the meantime?
Like, so I used to do it all. Like, I've done it all. I've tried it all until I started researching what's in it and how bad the nicotine is for your body and recovery, etc. I'm like anti it all now. Sure, it is a better option, but you're just killing yourself slower. Like, what is the point? You're still killing yourself. Like, you can't say this is healthy. It's not healthy. It's healthier than that. So it's not it's not a good choice at the end of the day. It's still a bad choice.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. I'm not like trashing people that smoke. I'm saying that if you have the option to stop smoking, take it.
Kind of sounds like you're bashing people that smoke, but okay, cool. To each their own. I think like allow people to do their thing so that they can also get to the stage where they're like, actually, this is lame. I don't want to do it anymore. This is actually bringing back memories of the first lockdown, that initial one when they said, okay, yeah, if after this everything's closing, all the alcohol, all the cigarettes, you're not going to be able to buy anything. I've never seen people buy cartons in the fashion that I saw. Like, people were buying the bulk. The cartons have probably like how many packs? 20 packs, and then people were buying loads of those just to stock up for the whole lockdown. It's quite scary how people are quite addicted to.
And they want you to be addicted to it. I like people. I see the comments like, Flax, stop telling people what to do. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just bringing to mind what you already know. It is bad for you. You can't come and tell me your smoking cigarettes is good. It is bad for you. I'm now just bringing that to the top of your mind. So you actually have to think about it.
Hey man, can't we just like light up the guy and just keep it moving? Like, can I just go and just go about my day? Like, Flax is in the corner watching me smoke. I should probably not. But I mean, let's see what happens. Hopefully more people will listen to that. Okay, I think the last news headline for the morning is that the court has halted the government's plan for 50 million rands to be donated to Cuba. Oh, Hunter, we've got money.
Why are
Oh.
we giving it to Cuba?
Whoa,
What do they do?
yeah. Is it because we brought Cuban doctors ning once upon a time? Is that
Haibo.
why?
I'm also a bit confused. So, lobby group AfriForum has successfully interdirected the government's planned 50 mil donation to Cuba. What the what? So, in a written judgment to the affected parties, Judge Brenda Nukrika of the Gauteng High Court in PTA granted the urgent interdict pending the final outcome of an application to be instituted by AfriForum to review and set aside the decision to donate an amount of 50 milli to the government of Cuba, or the final outcome of proceedings to declare that the donation is unlawful and or unconstitutional. The judge said none of the respondents could claim that they would suffer any harm where the 50 mil donation were to be put on hold whilst the matter was adjudicated on its complete merits. So yeah, it looks like the government was literally about to just donate 50 million, and AfriForum said, hold up, no. I didn't even know we still had 50 milli just chilling in the cut. Like, really?
Yeah,
I need
Cuba,
to
right
know the
the one
why.
way. You're not getting it. We don't have it.
It's not about not having it, it's the why behind it, right? Because once upon a time there was doctors that were brought in from Cuba, and I'd like to know why we now paying 50 mil, or we're so eager and ready to pay 50 mil. That's all I want to know. What was that agreement then? Did they agree that these doctors come here and then you give us 50 mil? What was the agreement? What is the why? Because in this economy that's very much, crashing, and we're not growing, why are you deciding to give 50 cars?
Yeah, no, look.
Yeah,
Find
that
out
50
next
mil
time.
needs to be invested here in South Africa.
Dude,
South Africans.
There's a lot that could be done with that money, but by the looks of things, they're not backing down. They're really not backing down. It seems like it's going to be quite a process.
Because they made a deal with the devil. This is why they went and sold this country to the people,
Bruh.
to the highest bidder. Promise you,
all of our souls collectively
dog, tried.
have been sold, man. It is what it is. Cool. So as I said, the show is still going to be great. We have a blind history later on, which I'll be honest with you. Like I said, I personally left history back at school, but blind history now in my adult life, it's given me an opportunity just to learn things that I possibly never would have had an opportunity to learn before. So it's really, really nice to be able to at least have the options to learn something new. And I know last week was the Jesus one. Simply, did you actually check that one out? I thought it was pretty fresh.
Yeah, I did. I listened to the Jesus episode. It was good.
Yeah,
they didn't say anything. I was like, hey, you borderline saying a whole lot of blasphemy there, but man, it was a good episode. And then today's episode is a bonus episode, and then it's a wrap, guys.
It's a wrap. Like, all good things have to come to an end. Michael, I know that you've got a new morning routine to get healthier and to obtain more knowledge at the same time. Now, I want to speak about this because I almost feel as though morning routines change as you grow. So obviously, like when you're in high school or varsity, whatever, you wake up at but when you get to that age where it's like, I need to have a set morning routine, it's constantly evolving. Well, for me anyway, and I'm always trying to find better ways to have this morning routine. So please give me some tips. Fill me in. What are you doing differently, bro?
My personality type loves routines. Like, if I could eat the same meal for lunch every day, I would. Like, it really gives me control in life. Damn. I wake up in the morning now at 6 o'clock. By 6:30, I'm out the door. But what I do the night before is I get myself excited to be out the house. So I choose a podcast, and it's always like a self-help, or it's like something on psychology. I was learning about behavioral psychology on Monday morning. And I take like an hour-long podcast, and I just go for an hour walk in the neighborhood. And it's amazing how different you see the neighborhood. When you're driving past houses and people, you don't really notice much. But when you're walking past the houses, you actually get to notice the houses and how beautiful they are, or different things that each house has compared to others. You get to smile at people on the road. You get to like pat a dog or two. So I get on the road and I put in a podcast and I walk for an hour, literally from Hopper 6 to Hopper 7. I'm walking in the road. I hate it when it rains because it means I can't walk. I come home, I'm wide awake. I've just absorbed an hour of knowledge. And then I start my day. Work only starts around about 8:30. So I've now started my day in like a productive way. And I know it sounds like, oh, I'm preaching and all this. It's just choices I've decided to place on my life. And anyone can place little choices on their life. Like even the smallest thing, like instead of having a burger every day for lunch, you can have a salad or something.
Flax, what happened, dog? I'm really like getting this vibe like something drastic occurred in the past couple of weeks and you were just like, I'm changing it all. Morning
I feel
routine.
like I realized that I did it all. Like I've done that clubbing, the tables, the drinking, the smoking. And then I was like, I've done it all and I can tick those boxes. Now what other boxes do I want to tick? And I realized I haven't done a healthy lifestyle. I haven't like lived a life where I wake up in the morning, I wake up early and I seize the day. So instead of doing the stuff I've already done, like the drinking and the partying and the clubbing, I used to go hard back in the day. Let me tell you, I've been in that studio very drunk. I've come straight from the club into that studio. And then I just decided I've done it.
On 1 to 10, on a scale of 1 to 10, like how lit, like can you say you've consistently been in the past?
How lit have I been?
Yeah.
Let me tell you, I was in clubs doing shots with Jason Derulo, and I have that on video even.
Sure.
We were living a good life.
Wow.
That sounds pretty wild. Dude.
I was helping AKA move his car at parties. Like, we were having fun.
You lead a life.
Yeah, so you were the guy. You should write a book there, like how to.
So I ticked those boxes, and now I'm just out there ticking other boxes that I haven't ticked.
Okay, no, that's cool. I think we should all take something from this book. But I'll be honest, I don't know if I believe in the cold turkey thing. I'll be honest with you. Like maybe it has its people, but generally I feel like the cutting down is really the more realistic way of doing things, because when you just kind of just stop, it's like, and your motivation isn't strong enough, and it's almost like you're lying to yourself, and then you just kind of like relapse or whatever. But this is from my experience. If you've seen cold turkey work for people, then
I'm for it.
So I don't know if it works for people, but my personality type, that's what I'm trying to say. Like this is very like centered to my personality type and my traits, etc. And that's what works for me. That's how my like psychology is able to do things. It's that the hard stop, the pay now, play later approach works for me. And I figured out that works for me. So that's the only tactic I can use.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, let me look at some comments. DK is saying that the ANC and Cuba have been washing each other's backs for years. This is very true. This one is very, very, very true. Our homegirl Robin Badger is saying that she's run out of cigarettes. So can somebody help? Robin, she's run out of quads.
Is this when we start the yoga routine now? You just like breathe
This is where Flax comes in and he goes, Robin, you do not need the cigarette. Breathe in, breathe out. Think about something.
I can't tell Robin she doesn't need the cigarettes. Robin has to tell herself she doesn't need the cigarettes.
Hey man, to each their own. It is what it is at the end of the day. Like, do what you need to do. I do know that like after a certain amount of smoking for like after like a couple of years consecutively, just that breath, man, that cigarette breath is just something that, oof, it's just nasty. It's just like, have you ever kissed someone who's just like an actual smoker? No offense, but I'm sorry, I can't. It's just,
it's horrible. It's disgusting. And you just like, get away from me right now. Like, and it's not even just the kissing. It's the fact that it's on your clothes. So when you walk in, you can just smell it. It's absolutely atrocious. Like if there's one smell that we do not need in this world, it is the smell of cigarettes. I promise you, that thing is just a complete turn off. Oh, guys, yeah.
Yeah, but it is what it is, man. Like, let people do what they need to do. Again, like, I don't want people to be like, they're telling us not to smoke cigarettes. I'm going to stop listening. Because definitely people are smoking cigarettes. The lady that, like, is a real estate agent that I met last week, she smokes like 60 a day. And she's proud of it. She's like, yeah, after this, I'm just going to go and, like, have another cigarette. And, life's going to go on. She definitely also speaks like that, by the way. And like that huskiness is it's her vibe, it's her thing. Like it becomes a part of you.
Sure.
If smoking is what you know, it's what you do. And don't forget that some people start at a very, very young age. Like in high school, I was seeing these kids smoking with their parents at the age of 14. And I was like, what? And they've just never stopped. They've just never stopped.
You know
It
how
is
like
what-
you watch TV or you listen to like, is it called terrestrial radio nowadays? And you hear those statements like drink responsibly or don't drink and drive. Nowhere is anyone saying like smoke responsibly or don't smoke more than X, Y, and Z. It's like no one's talking about it. They have just hushed this thing under a blanket. We're now focusing on alcohol and cigarettes and that. Someone's getting paid off to shut up about it.
Dude, do you know, like, it's a big business. This the cigarette business. I don't even know what the numbers are, but like, it's a lot of money. And you saw it during lockdown. Like, I think they even took the government to court because the government banned cigarettes at some point. That's how much money they're making. That's how much money they're making. They're like, no, you can't take the money away from us, government. We're gonna take you to court. And when they couldn't, bring in the usual cigarettes, then open the black market. So it's just a thing. It's real. It's real. So to each their own. I think that's how we should just like wrap it up. Let people do what they want to do. If you want to have that husky voice, do you, baby. If you're happy to wake up and have a cigarette first thing in the morning, that is honestly your choice. We will maybe just choose other things.
We ain't about it.
We ain't about that life, and it is what it is. It is what it is. When else did you guys actually like invest your money? Like properly say, yeah, at this 10 rand, I'm investing it.
Guys, I think you'd be proud of me and my friend. So my friend and I have a stokvel, right? And we had saved
Go you.
We had saved a bit of money, and then we were like, okay, what are we gonna do? Because we want to get into investments now. We're like, okay, girl, it's time to live up.
Yeah.
And one of the things we did this past weekend was invest our money into Rivix.
Oh,
Yes.
Nice.
oh, I'm sure Chris is just like
True story.
excited to hear
And
that.
I was like, yeah, I think this is the right time, even though, the markets and whatnot. But I've been listening to the guys join us. And so we kind of did like our first crypto investment.
Chris, I know you're happy
I'm
to
so
hear
proud.
that.
I'm so proud of you.
Like,
Flax, how's it going, guys?
How
I
you
cannot
doing?
explain how proud of you I am, Sophia. That's fantastic.
It's not millions yet, Chris, but hey, we're on the right track,
time,
right?
give it
Into
time.
millions.
Yeah.
It's a good start. So obviously it's another week of some interesting developments in the world of cryptocurrency, and there is a whole lot to get into. So Chris Beamish is joining us. He's an investment analyst and he's here to tell us all about it. So why Revix? Well, in a market that we've never seen before, don't guess, just diversify. And Revix really does allow you to effortlessly own a diversified portfolio of the world's top cryptocurrencies, which automatically stays up to date with the ever-changing market. And Simpiwe is like now one of the members of that ever-changing market.
So I'm listening now. I need to know what's really happening.
Chris, let's get straight into it, man. So let's hear all about decentralized finance. Like, what is going on? I know that there's a bundle that's launching this Friday. What's happening?
Yeah, decentralized finance to some might be a buzzword, but I mean, it's really just if you imagine a bank without kind of high fees, the long queues, all of their financial products just being offered over the internet. That's DeFi, pretty much. The decentralized finance, DeFi. In its simplest form, DeFi is practically just like a bunch of ridiculously smart people that looked at the banks and said, these guys are useless. I could do that in my sleep. And then decided to like program a whole bunch of code and programs that could automate all of those financial products and make it all available over the internet. But I mean, like, not only is it possible to like live our financial lives by like spending, getting loans and banking all over the internet now using DeFi, the whole DeFi sector offers a lot more than the actual traditional banks and financial sector. And they also don't discriminate at all. So what we've noticed is a lot of people like VCs, hedge funds are starting to consider this movement to be like the future of finance due to its potential for like greater accessibility, especially for those like in Africa. I mean, globally, we've got about 2 billion people on this planet that are unbanked. And with DeFi, they could easily gain access to the whole financial like services industry with just an internet access or internet connection.
So when you say it doesn't discriminate, can you elaborate a little bit on that? So what exactly does that mean? Like any and everybody can participate in this?
So, I mean, I'm a youngster. I mean, I'm in my early 20s. And when I was trying to get my first credit card a few years ago, they told me to get lost because I'd never been in debt before. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that system, for example, there, I mean, you have to provide like lengthy, extensive documents and crazy amount of stuff just to actually open up an account with anyone, even not even just to take on debt. But with DeFi, you just have to prove you are who you are. So you have to KYC, know your customer. Just say, hi, I'm Chris Beamish, provide my ID, and they open my account. And then there's like pretty much unlimited access. Obviously, there's bounds to this, but there's unlimited access to who can actually get onto this. As long as you, on the internet, you can actually go, cool, I can actually go and have my own currency, take out a loan, or actually provide like my capital to earn interest. There's no, like, you know, there's like a walled garden in the whole banking industry. There's like the bank gets to say who can do what and who can't. With DeFi, everybody can do exactly what they need to.
Damn, that sounds dope. And I know you guys have a DeFi bundle that you have really running from this Friday. So can you tell us more about that?
Certainly been a crowd favorite. Everyone's been asking for a DeFi bundle. I mean, DeFi is just a fascinating industry, but our DeFi bundle is a little bit different to what we've launched in the past, in which our previous bundles have all been equally weighted. So all the assets have an equal weighting. Here it's market cap weighted. So say the industry has like one bigger player because it's a real powerhouse. We've decided to allocate based on the size of those market caps, if that makes sense. So it's like a weighted exposure to this like crazy, like innovative industry. And I mean, that decision came about because we did a whole bunch of back testing, and that weighted exposure delivered the best risk-adjusted returns. And therefore, it's like a better optimized bundle to help customers achieve long-term gains with a bit lower volatility.
Okay, Chris, if I was to ask you to explain this DeFi bundle to a 5-year-old, just like in simple terms where it's, the average person can just understand without all the jargon, how would you explain it?
Sure. That's actually quite a great question, to be honest with you. So, I mean, realistically, how we pay for everything is obviously money, and how if it's a 5-year-old, how your parents actually go and pay for everything is called the bank, where they keep their money. But the bank obviously has a whole bunch of rules, and it's very slow, and the system doesn't work very well. With DeFi, you're investing in a much better system. You're investing in like the banks, but you're doing it in like the 1800s. So it's so early on in investing in these new, financial technologies, pretty much. But you're investing very early on in the future of money, pretty much.
And is this something that maybe, parents should actually consider getting into now, particularly for their kids?
I mean, realistically, crypto over the long term is going to grow. It's guaranteed. I mean, if you look at network adoption rates of just Bitcoin alone, and you can go outside of Bitcoin too, and then start looking at DeFi and these other stuff. The rate at which users are actually coming into the space grows at over 100% a year, which is faster than the internet grew in the 90s. So it's absolutely incredible. So I'm certainly no financial advisor. And I mean, like I've said in previous episodes, don't ever invest a lot more than you can actually afford to. Keep it very conservative at first, for sure. But for like the long-term retirement plans, for like college funds, that kind of stuff, even if you start adding a small amount now, the rate at which this industry grows, it could certainly turn into a meaningful investment in the future.
That's dope. That's really, really dope. And the nice thing is that it's pretty easy to invest. I think there's 3 easy steps. You just sign up to Revix for free, verify your ID, and then boom, add your funds and select the bundle of your choice, just like Simpiwe has done.
Just like Simpiwe. And what's really cool about this bundle we're launching on Friday is also going to have a little bit of a promo on it, just like we have in the past. There'll be zero buy-in fee, so you can buy into the DeFi bundle for free.
Love that. You guys are always looking out for us, man. Between you and Sean, I mean, you guys are great.
We do our best there. We do our best.
You really, really do. Okay, that's dope, man. So for more information, just do head over to www.revix.com, and it's the smart way to invest in crypto. Chris, thank you so much for joining us. We will also be partaking and participating. I mean, Simpiwe is giving me some great ideas. Like, why have I not thought of this in the past? Like, I mean, how much are you allowed to share how much you invested, Simpiwe, or is that between you and God?
What's between me and God?
I'm just checking.
I will say we didn't take all of our stock fail money, so we took some of it to invest, and now we're just
like
gonna
3 million.
I wish. Do you think I still have a job, girl? I tell you
Playing
now.
us. You're a multi-millionaire.
I'm out of here.
Really? You'd quit your job? Of course you would. You'd quit your job.
I've been dying. So I don't know if you guys have ever watched the show I Hate Chris, right?
No.
Isn't
Okay.
everybody hates Chris?
hates Chris.
Yeah.
You made it personal now, eh? You made it personal.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
individually, like,
no, but the mom, I used to idolize the mom because every time she was sick and tired of a job, she was like, I don't need this. My man got 2 jobs.
yeah.
And I've always wanted in my life to be like, you know what? I don't need this. Okay.
Yeah. I'm out.
You tried me. Okay. And in this
Well-
case, I wouldn't say my man got 2 jobs. I'll be like, I'm a millionaire. Okay. Put some respect.
Computer, you just got an SMS right now that you won 50 million in the lotto. What is your
Yeah.
first move? Like, what are you doing?
Like,
You
she'll
just-
probably switch off her microphone and just walk out the door. That's like,
No,
she's out.
no, I've rehearsed it in my mind if that ever happened, right?
yeah.
I would definitely keep cool, keep calm, and the first thing I'm doing is paying off my debts, and then whatever is left, Lord have mercy. like, like,
You're gonna rule
I
the
might-
world.
honey, I think I need to see how much Louis Vuitton actually costs
Oh
for
my
myself.
word. Oh my word. Like, are you telling anybody though? So you've just gotten this SMS, 17 million in your account. Like, who are you telling? Because
I
that
think-
also has an effect on
I
your
won't lie.
spending.
I won't lie. The first person or the first 2 people I'm called is my sister. I would never tell my gran. So I'm sorry.
Ah,
I would not tell my gran
why?
because
Gogzin.
no, it would that 17 would be 17 rand in 2 days. If you guys are wondering where I get my expensive taste from, honey,
Mm.
there's a whole queen that has taught me her ways. So I'm calling my sister and then I'm calling my financial advisor because I'm like, yo, before I want to pay off my debt. That's great. I want to invest some, but I also, honey, that yacht has my name on it.
Oh my- a whole yacht, yours and pure. I think the trick, and I mean, I don't know, I've never like come across like a huge sum of money like that out of the purple, but the trick is just to kind of keep it moving. Like, don't switch up too much. Like, if there's anything I've learned from watching these drug lord documentaries and stuff, the minute you start like getting too flashy, now you're buying the big cars and the big crib and like the huge fur jackets, and now you're just like, and I guess in this day and age, if you're on social media doing too much, then you're kind of like, you're exposing yourself. Clearly something has changed. The trick is to just like, just keep it moving. Maybe quit your job, but don't like be like out there about the fact that you've come across. Maybe just just travel and just like enjoy yourself. But hey, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let
We
me
don't
not
have the
speak.
odds. I
I-
will say yesterday we were 4:45 to like it was myself, Greg, Mom Jane, and Barrett. And
Yeah.
we're talking about the lotto, right?
Mm.
And then Greg takes out his phone, he's like, you know what, I'm gonna play. And I'm like, dude, if you win,
We out.
we splitting this 4 ways. So we're all taking
We were all in the room when you decided. We are the reason you decided to purchase.
Yes. So it was like, and we're like, guys, let's do this. Let's make a whole Cliff Central, like, pick the numbers. And if any of one of us, wins, guys, it's tickets. We're all out of here. We're all like 25%. Everybody's taking
No,
25%.
what the hell, dude? If I win the lotto, y'all are probably not even gonna know about it. You just won't see me anymore. That's the only thing. It'll be like, where is Lebang? What happened to her? Doug, I am gone. That's it. But in terms of why I'm gone, that's none of your business. Like, honestly. Mash Machine in the comments is saying, well, Simpure, you get to buy that big teddy bear. So hey, it's not all bad.
Dream come true.
Stink Mina Zede's got a good point in there. They're saying the first mistake is never to tell anyone how much you won. I absolutely second that.
I
Like,
agree with that, but you do need to tell someone. So I'd be like, I won a bit, enough to pay for my debts with a little change, but you'll never know the exact amount. The issue is that when people know even how much you earn, like nobody
Yeah.
knows the exact amount that I earn. Because I'm just like, I tried that the first time I was an intern and my grad knew exactly. And she was just like, girl, I know how much is left in that bank account.
dude, and
you can
people-
afford to buy me this. And I was
they
like,
stay budgeting with other people's money. That's like,
Damn.
why are you budgeting on my money? Like, leave me
Fam.
alone.
I was like that. She was just like, I know how much is left. I'm your grandmother. And then it's
Boundaries,
just
dude.
like,
Boundaries. Gogs and boundaries. Like, I think there's like a line that just needs to not be crossed. But it is what it is, man. Like, hopefully, like one of us will win the lotto. Then we'll see if what you're saying now will actually happen. It's 7:00 on the dot. Is it Wednesday? It's Wednesday, the 23rd of March. Almost Friday. Let's go for a break. We'll see you in a bit.
Do you suffer from collectivism?
So I collect pretty much anything creepy crawly.
Do you have an obsession with objects?
I've really just started loving vintage Rolex watches.
Are you a fanatic, a devotee, an aficionado?
Is it a bit over the top? Definitely. Do people walk in and go, what are you thinking? Yes.
Cliff Central dispenses a weekly dose of collectomania. Join me as I talk to compulsive collectors. Fascinating.
He sold it to me for R1 million. That watch eventually sold for R8 million.
Possibly a little weird.
The tarantulas are definitely by far the most impressive.
Collectomania, Mondays on the Gareth Cliff Show. Brought to you by SA Gold Coin Exchange and the Scoin Shop. Just because it's about technology, connecting your business to the rest of the world doesn't mean you need to send rockets to space and use complicated solutions. Want to simplicate things? Well, join Jaco Voigt, who is the CEO of Catalytic, on the Unbundled podcast. With skin in the game and a keen focus on educating and assisting you and your business, Jaco decodes all the aspects of connectivity, security, and cloud solutions. Unbundled is brought to you by Catalytic and is available on cliffcentral.com, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back. I hope you are feeling good, feeling refreshed. I went to get a cup of tea and I actually poured it in a polystyrene cup. I'm having regrets now. I should have probably gone for a mug. But it is.
Wait. What in your right mind
What?
would you be like, let me not use a cup?
Okay, let me explain. So I got burnt yesterday, not literally burnt, but I actually went to the kitchen and I poured tea in an actual mug. And then after I poured the tea, like shit just started floating to the top of the mug. So I was like, what the hell is this stuff? Like little green and black things. So I was like, these cups are not the one. So since then, dude, I'm just like going the polystyrene route. No offense to the cups.
And how's that working for you?
Well, look, we'll see. I haven't had a chance to sip it yet, but as soon as I do, I'll let you know. Thanks, Imperial. I know you're deeply concerned about this. I know. I feel it.
Are both of you in the same studio or separate studios?
We're in the same studio.
We
just have same building, different views.
We've had a party.
Yeah,
You must come next time,
next
dude.
time.
Like
Next
if you want to,
yeah.
come through, dude. Like let's get some color up in here. Like switch it up.
Okay, next time I'm definitely in studio.
So in some exciting news, guys, it seems like, we know Simpio wants this teddy bear and we know she's single, but it seems like she's like active in the market. Like she's actively, participating in stuff. Sim, you said that you asked the guy what his intentions are and his reply was, I don't know.
Oh, red flag. But good on you for asking intentions. That's important. Don't be shy to do that.
Yeah,
Take what you
I'm
want.
proud of you for being out there already. So what happened? Like walk us through this situation because I need to know. I'm curious.
Oh my word. So I like asking questions when I get to know someone, right?
Yeah.
And then like this time around, I think not even this time around, as I get older, I'm like, I don't have time to have 9-month long talking stages. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So it was like, I met him in December. We've been talking all day, every day. And I was like, okay, it's been kind of like 6 weeks now, us talking. Where's this going? Like, what are your intentions?
Whoa. Did you say, where's this going? Like,
No. My exact question was to him was, no, my mind was thinking, where's this going? Like, I need to know.
Okay.
But when I asked him, I said, and I phrased it like this, hey, just curious to know, what are your intentions?
Like with you.
And then, yes. And then I was like, yes. And then he's like, oh, well, I don't know. And I was like, okay, that's.
After 6 weeks, he should
After
know.
only
After
6
2 weeks, he should know if he's wasting your time or not. You can ask that question on the second date if you want.
Thank you.
If you're
Flax.
feeling
Thank you
something
so
and you
much.
want to know if the other person is as well, you can ask at any time. There's no
Like-
time period too soon.
Sure, but I think like if you the fact that you're asking is already, it's kind of clear that this person, if they haven't put it out there and made it obvious that dude, I am courting you and I want to take it to the top with you, you have to ask still.
No, he could be shy or like
Yeah.
not used
I mean,
to
we've
this.
been on a date. No, wait, I'll give him this. We've been on a date in this
Yeah.
time frame.
Yeah.
And then I also found out that like he works quite far, like,
Okay.
you know, and that's also, distance is going to be a real thing. But in us talking every day, it's like he's initiating, he's the one, like I would say something and then the next day he implements it. So it's like, okay, I can see that there's a chemistry here. I can see that you're trying, but I don't know where is this going.
So his actions are, showing you that.
Yes, but I'm just like, I need to know. I don't want to read between the lines. So I asked him.
True.
And when he said, I don't know, I was just like, hold up. Don't guys know whether they want you or don't want you? Like, I would have been okay with nah, let's just be friends or let's take this somewhere. But I don't know.
Okay, Simpio, what are your intentions? No, I'm asking, like, as the guy, we've been chatting for 6 weeks. We've gone on a date. I work far, but clearly I dig you because my actions are so. Simpio, what are your intentions with me?
I would like to pursue this further on a more romantic note.
You want a serious relationship with him?
I think it would be cool, yes.
So it's either
Be
the teddy
cool.
bear.
It's been 6 weeks. That is exactly what you want. You're still chatting to him after 6 weeks.
But after
You
that, I
like
don't
him.
know. I'm about to be like, nah, dude, like it's good. Hey, we can keep it moving.
So have you told him that, like, let's just stop like talking. Let's all together just like maybe finish
I
this.
did ask my friends, and one of my guy friends thought I was overreacting.
I kind of think you might be, to be honest. I just like.
So I'm not. And one of my girl, like, you see, so I'm trying to figure out. For me, I'm like, since you don't know, that says a lot, and that I don't know is it's a no. It's like when someone's like, I don't want to be in a relationship. That you is silent. That's it.
Oh, that is straight away move on. If you ask that person and they reply with that, or they're like, you're different to the people I've dated, like these are red flags you need to pick up.
Yeah,
if you're different to the people they've dated, they are not dating someone like you, and they are not going to start dating someone like you. They have
That's
a type
true.
and you don't fit it, and that's what they're telling you. They're telling you,
But
I'm trying, but I'm used to this instead of that.
Yeah, I think it's just important to also know what it is that you want. Like, you can't leave it up to the other person to dictate what's going to happen. I mean, instead of asking, hey, where's this going? What are we? Or you say, look, dude, so I was thinking that we should take this to the next level. What are your thoughts? Be as open about your needs or what it is that you want, because they're not going to know. They probably also sitting there like, oh, what is it that Simpio wants to do? Oh, I'll never know. Oh, like, you can't leave that decision to one party. That's very dangerous, because then you end up in a relationship with this person. And then when things start going wrong, or he starts doing things that you don't like, you start asking yourself how you got here. You weren't intentional enough, and you weren't clear with your intentions from the beginning. So always ask yourself, what is it that you want? Do you want it enough? And are you willing to share that information with said party so that they can also decide if they're willing to join you? That's it.
Some people have you asked if he's seeing anyone else?
Yeah, he's very much single. That was established
No,
like.
Have you asked if he's seeing anyone else? Not if he's single, if he's seeing anyone else.
Okay. Well, I asked if he's single, and the answer was yes. I am very much
He's single because he's not dating you yet, but is he with anyone else?
Is he like looking anywhere else? Does he have options? I mean, these things you gotta know, girl.
No, guys don't. They're not going to be honest about that.
Of course, so. They must be honest.
And are very different, Flax. And I think the one thing I do know is that I look at it like this. I'm a single person and I also have other guys pursuing me, right? So it's not like
yes, girl.
It's not like he's the only one, but he's like the guy that I'm like, you are the one that I'd like to see this through. And so I also kind of give him the benefit of the doubt that he might be talking to other girls. As long as you're single, as long as I'm not messing with a taken man, that's great. That's amazing.
Hey, man.
No, but it's been 6 weeks. You got to hold him accountable to just being yours or something. Like, it's been 6 weeks.
6 weeks. Guys, 6 weeks is not that
long. That's
no,
over
it's
a
not.
month of talking and going on dates.
And we've only been on one date. Now no. Robin has some good advice. Robin Badge in the comments is saying, "Oh no, you don't need a man now, Sim." I agree with that, dude. Like, just take it easy.
That's not what my grandmother's saying, but okay.
The same grandmother that's budgeting with your salary. Melissa Peterson is saying, "No, guys know when they what they want from the beginning, what they want from you from the beginning."
Okay.
So
I can take that.
Don't
100%.
waste your time, dude. It is what it is.
I don't think you're wasting your time. I think you need to ask the question so you can stop assuming. That's the biggest problem in relationships. We assume. You assume he's only talking to you. You assume he likes you, but unless you ask, you'll never know. He might just be playing a game with you, and you can cut that game by just asking, are you looking for something serious? How do you feel about me? Do you like me? Do you want to go on the next date? Do you want to pursue this? Otherwise, it's just hookup nation again.
Shoot your shot, dude. Shoot your shot. It's 2022. Like, literally, like, this is what Michael is saying. Just like, do you?
Yeah,
basically.
What's the worst that's going to happen? Instead of assuming. You want to be in a position of knowing. So the only way you're going to know is to ask questions. And it's never too soon to ask questions. Even on the second date, you can ask someone, what are you looking for? Because I'm looking for a serious relationship and I want to make sure we're on the same page. And if they say they're not looking for a serious relationship, cut that at the second date. You know what you want, and you're not going to settle for anything that's not it.
Dr. Michael Flax Hanan, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Michael Flax Hanan in the building.
Listen,
like, he's been picking up many pieces off the dance floor of broken hearts. He knows exactly what he's talking about. That's the guy to go to.
Okay.
You guys are hectic, man. Michael, I know that you just finished your first CrossFit Open competition. Please, can you explain exactly in your big age, what is that?
It is the most insane competition I've ever enlisted myself in. I love CrossFit. Like, I used to be one of the people that used to trip CrossFit and call it a cult. And then I joined it, and it might be a cult and everything,
really call it a
but
cult.
it is very fun. It is a lot of fun. I encourage everyone to join a CrossFit because it's good, healthy lifestyle. And they have this competition called the CrossFit Open. And it's once a year within the entire world competes. And you get ranked where you are in this world. And it's over 3 weeks. And what they do is every Friday morning, they release the workout. And then you have the Friday and the Saturday to complete the workout. But it's like insane workouts. And these workouts are only like 12 minutes. And it's like, do like 100 of this and 100 pull-ups, 100 push-ups, 100 burpees in like 10 minutes. And then you basically get counted on how many reps you get in those 10 minutes. But like after that 10 minutes, you've literally gone from 0 to 100 real quick. And you've given every ounce of energy and like everything you have, you've given to try and be the best you can. And the greatest part about this competition is where you think your limit is, you end up going way past that limit because it's just like, it's a short space of time. I mean, the third competition that we did, I came home and I've never vomited after gym, and I just had a 2-hour nap, and I just couldn't hold it in because I'd given all that I had in those 10 minutes. And I was so proud of myself for what I achieved, even though I didn't finish a single competition that they did. Not many people did, but it was the first time I did. And it put a benchmark on where I am now and where I want to be. And it just shows you your level of fitness and what you can achieve when you put your mind to it. I'm no bodybuilder or giant or anything, but I do know that if I put my mind to something, I can do it. And the first competition I did, I was like, this is impossible. But then I went and I did the second one, and I went and I did the third one. I didn't let it discourage me. I committed to it. I did it, and I feel very proud of myself now that I've completed my first CrossFit Open.
Good for you, bro. It sounds like you really just doing the most. I don't know if you know, there's a young man by the name of Mbulelo Tinta. He happens to be a part of the team. It sounds like you guys would get along pretty well. The more I listen to you and you're like, healthy lifestyle, stop smoking, stop drinking, wake up in the morning and do yoga on a Sunday. Hey man, this is right up his alley. You should give him a call.
You can listen to the podcast.
Actually, no, that's dope, man. Good for you, bro. I also just think the gym thing, there was a phase that we went through as a South African society, especially where gym wasn't a thing. It was on a need to know. Those who know, if you do it, you don't. And then there was this sudden boom. Everybody's a gym influencer, and everybody's in the gym taking pictures. Everybody's connecting with brands, and then it became the in thing, to really look after your healthy lifestyle in that way. And I think it's cool too. But what I noticed was that people would jump onto it was a fad. People would just kind of participate in the gym thing because it was the cool thing to do. That thing needs dedication. That thing needs commitment. You need to be able to have the right motive and say, you know what? The reason why I'm doing this is because if your reason is because your Instagram buddy Usman Bani is, looking thick and blah, 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 then it's not going to last. And true to form, some people just kind of fall by the waistline when they start their gym. It's a back and forth. And that's why you always see in January, all these big gym companies have discounts and they want to get you back into the gym and blah, blah, blah. But I mean, it is what it is, right? How do you just stay focused, and how do you just continue on and not lose sight of your motive? Because I think after one CrossFit competition, I'd be cool, for life. I'm out.
You got to attach reason to things. You got to know why you're doing it. You can't just do it because you want the Instagram post or you want this. You got to find internally why you're doing something and why you want to do it. And then you use that inner driving force to drive you to carry on doing it. Don't do things for other people's approval. Do things so that you're proud of yourself at the end of the day, because it's all internal. Don't do it for an Instagram post. Don't bungee jump because you want to put it on Instagram and get 100 likes. Bungee jump because it's a fear you want to get over or something like that. I started scuba diving because I was scared of the ocean. I was really so scared. You stand there and you can't see what's below you, and there could be sharks and stuff. And then I went scuba diving in umkhomazi. There's a place called Raggy's Cave. There's
you went scuba diving where? Simply, please help me.
Am I pronouncing it wrong?
I don't know. I've never heard of it. I don't know.
I'm not butchering it.
I feel like you went scuba diving where?
Umkhomazi.
Umkhomazi. I don't know. How do you spell it? Okay, let's Google.
I'm not judging you. I'm not judging you.
I think this is a learning moment. That's all. It's just an opportunity to maybe it could be Umkhomazi. Yeah.
umkhomazi. Umkhomazi.
Oh, it's Umkhomazi.
Sorry. I'm right.
You were saying.
Yeah, please proceed.
You were saying. I'm listening.
Oh man.
You went scuba diving.
And come on.
This is that whole pizza story. People think I say pizza incorrectly.
Wait, pizza.
Yeah.
Not pizza. You're ordering pizza.
Pizza.
I love this. Okay, so yeah. So what happened in Umkhomazi?
there's a place called Raggy's Cave, and it's just like a whole bunch of sharks in their nesting ground. And I went scuba diving there, and I realized sharks are like certain sharks are quite scared of you. Like they would come to me, and then as soon as they saw the bubbles, or like I would sometimes scream in the mask if I was a little too scared, they just quickly swim away. And then I realized like can't be scared of all sharks. So like the ocean's not that bad. And now I really dig the ocean.
Because
You guys are still stuck. You actually don't care about the moral of the story. It's the word that we still stuck on.
Dude, I can't get umkhomazi out of my mind. I think
I'm still stuck on pizza.
Are you still on pizza?
Yeah.
Dude, I think it might be like umkhomazi. I think. I don't know if it's umkhomazi, but I could be wrong. Okay. And look, pizza, whatever, man. As long as there's cheese on it, tastes good. But I think we hear your point.
But I do have a question for you, Flax. Would you, since you've done CrossFit now, would you ever do like the Iron Man things, you know,
Ooh.
and those competitions?
It's definitely not on my calendar. But I'm more crossing this first bridge at the current moment. I need to just get better at CrossFit before I can think of doing an Ironman or that.
Okay.
It's like one competition at a time, you know.
I'm not a good swimmer, hey, and I think Ironman you got to swim, and I'm just flotation isn't my thing. I'm more of a drowner. That's why scuba diving really works, because I can drown and still breathe.
I mean, I feel like that's what the sharks also realized. That's why they swam off when they saw you. It was like, oh, this guy's gonna drown. We out. So I think we've got a savior, guys. Usna Zulu in the comments is saying it's pronounced umkhomazi. So yeah, I think what we were thinking is correct. Okay. Umkhomazi.
All right.
Yeah. So Flax, now you know, baby.
They settled.
I mean, let's hear it. Let's give it a try. I mean, you know, I want to see where you at. You know, umkhomazi. Go.
Umkhomazi.
Umkhomazi. Way better. Way better. Whew, hey, that first one almost gave me heart palpitations.
But that's not how Google says it.
Do we believe
Google.
Anything that Google
Translate
is not the girl.
It's no, guys. Don't do that to yourself. You'll be swearing at people with Google Translate. Okay?
Yeah. That place is dangerous, especially in South Africa. We've got 11 official languages, and you go to Twitter and you're like, "Oh, what does this mean?" Someone is It doesn't mean that. Google Translate doesn't mean what it says. Trust. Just let it go. Just let it go.
Now know how to pronounce it.
Yes, and share that with all your friends when you guys go to Brides and stuff. Carl Dos Santos, one of my faves, says that Ironman is a real competition and it makes the CrossFit people look like little biatches. It is what it is. He's not wrong.
Okay.
I have no doubt it's a tough competition.
Where's the lie?
No, but all I'm saying, we're all gonna start somewhere, right?
Yeah.
You can't just one day decide to run the marathon. You gotta start with these small nyana races, and then you
work your way up.
That's right, you know. And so, you know what? Shout out to you, Flax, because I don't even think I could do CrossFit. You see?
Yeah, I know.
Like that is already like what? I have a time limit to do what? Oh, traba.
Like, I'm not good at all. Let's just set the tone here. I'm not the best.
The fact that you're doing you're doing it. One
of our colleagues in the office, Barrett. Shout out to Barrett. He teaches. Is it spinning?
Yes, it's spinning.
Like every week, and it's always so interesting to sit and listen to like his stories about like some of the people that come to the spinning class and the kind of people that he interacts with and blah blah blah. And since I started working at Cliff Central, I'm always like, you know what, one day I'm gonna go to the spinning class just so I can, you know, and just participate. I think it's not the hardest of them all. I mean, it's definitely not CrossFit level, girl.
Have you done spinning before?
No.
Okay, so let me tell you, because I once did that. I was like, I got invited to a spinning event, and it was a 2-day event thing. Honey, I could not feel my legs after that session. Like I got off that back and I was like, excuse me? And my whole entire body was just sore. My legs were just like, no, girl.
But that's the point.
I was so traumatized by that experience. I said, never, ever, ever, ever am I doing spinning. And I've told Barrett that.
I'm going to give it a try.
I'm traumatized.
No, but the first time's always difficult. And then it just gets easier from there. That's the commitment. You just got to say, I'm giving it, let's say, 20 tries. And trust me, by the 20th try, it is so much easier than the first try.
20 trials.
20. Now let's start with 5. Let's get to 5. Yo, 20. But it is what it is. So Rebellious Ruth in the comments, when last was Flax on a date?
Wasn't your mom trying to hook you up with a young something because you're also getting old and it's time for you to
My
get
mom's
some.
always trying to find me someone, but
Shout out to mom.
every parent will do that. But no, I go on dates, but like it's no longer like it's a different tone in the dates. It's like I'm looking for something serious at the moment, so I'd make my intentions known.
So to answer the question, when last were you on a date? Because Ruth wants to know. Like Ruth,
Are you
really
shooting your
wants to
shot,
know.
Ruth?
Like she's just asking, give the people what they want.
I think it was last Wednesday, and then I have a date tonight with the same person.
Oh,
Okay, where you guys going? What
So
are you
it's
guys
like
doing?
part 2. Tell us more.
Tell us. Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm very excited. I think a second date is carries a lot of meaning because it means you really enjoyed the first one, that you want to spend more time with the person and get to know them. But I'm in the stage where I'm building a connection. I'm trying to get to know the person, see we have things in common. I'm done with that whole like hookup nation and like all that stuff. I'm looking for something serious, so I make my intentions known, and the people I go on dates with, it's building a connection, which I think is very important and healthy.
Aw, Flax.
I love it.
This is so touching. This is nice, man. Like Dr. Flax Hanan. Like this is great. I hope people are listening and are getting inspired by what you're saying. So you're no longer into like the hookup vibe. That's just not
good.
where you are. That's dope. There's nothing for you in the streets, Flax. The streets, there's nothing there. Forget about that place and just like focus on you, boo boo. Do you?
Yeah.
100%. Okay, cool. So I think it's high time that we get into some blind history. I think today's show was really, really cool. Flax, good luck with your date tonight. I hope you can also fill her in on some of the places that
Quick question before we go. Are you going to ask her what are her intentions?
I'm probably going to ask if she likes me and wants to go on another date. I'm not going to like be very like there's a way to say it that's not like confrontational. But you can definitely ask someone if they want to like carry on dating or if they're seeing someone else. And like you can literally ask any question you want in life. That's the beauty of life. If you ask the questions, you get the answers.
You get the answers. You don't need to be out
like
here
if
assuming.
anyone asks me where they can follow me, you can follow me on Instagram at Michael Flax.
And the DMs are open.
No, the DMs aren't open. Are the DMs open? Yes or no?
I mean, say hello.
That is a hard yes on the DMs being opened. That is a hard yes. Now enjoy the date, man. I hope it works out for you. Let her know about all your travels to umkhomazi. You know, let her know about your love for pizza. I think that like being yourself is step 1. She needs to see you for who you truly are, and then you guys can live ever after. That's my opinion. Sim, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you to everyone that hung out with us. If you're tuning in from the app via audio, you've made the right choice. If you're watching on the YouTube, please do subscribe. Make sure you don't leave without clicking that subscribe button. Rebellious Ruth, we love you. Sanela, we love you. Carl, everybody that hangs out with us every day, we see you. Christy, my fave, Dude69, you guys are the bomb.com. I guess we'll see you tomorrow morning. But before we bounce, we're not just going to leave you hanging like that. It obviously is time for a bonus episode of one of my favorite things, Blind History. And on today's bonus episode, which is, of course, brought to you by Taylor Blinds and Shutters, Dr. Emma Southern specializes in Roman history and has written some incredibly interesting and also very, very funny books. And as a bonus episode of Blind History, we just managed to have a chat with her about Rome, Roman society, and the role of women in Roman families, and many, many, many other unbelievable stories about what really happened outside politics and war. So as they say, Rome was not built in a day. We shall see you tomorrow. Have a great one. Thursday is tomorrow, right? Simpu, am I right?
Correct.
Yes. You know what they say about Thursdays?
Who's that Thursday?
Who's that Thursday? And after Thursday, it's Friday, the best day of the week. Have a good one. We'll see you soon.
Dr. Emma Southern holds a PhD in ancient history. She did that at the University of Birmingham, but her life is even more exciting since then. She's the author of Marriage, Sex and Death, The Family and the Fall of Rome, and Agrippina, as well as a book I'm reading at the moment, which is A Fatal Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum. It's amazing. It's all about murder in Rome, which is just one of the things that makes Rome so exciting for all of us. She also co-hosts her own history podcast with the writer Janina Mathewson. It's called History is Sexy, and the podcast is very sexy too. So it's a great pleasure to welcome you to Blind History.
It's nice to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm always so delighted when people are even reading my book, let alone enjoying it. So it's just really exciting.
Reading it, I'm devouring it at the moment, and it's the first of what I hope will be many of your books that I can go through the entire catalog the next time we speak.
I wouldn't recommend the first one. That's my PhD book, and it's all very serious and has no jokes in it. So,
well, maybe that's a good place to start, because you have left academia. You found it a bit stifling and boring. You can either stick around in academia, as many great writers have, and you're a terrific writer, or you can go and have fun on your own, which is what you've elected to do. And you stick to Rome largely because Rome is so bloody fascinating, isn't it?
It is. It is. I got into studying ancient Rome by accident, really, because I did an A-level in ancient history purely because if you did the A-level, you got trips to Italy and Greece. And I thought that sounded quite fun. But I was going to be a psychologist, and psychology was going to be my thing that I did. But Romans and the sheer weirdness and horribleness and the kind of weird mismatch between how they imagine themselves to be as like the pinnacle of civilization and how they actually are as just horrible people for the most part just kind of constantly fascinates me. And it just, I can't get enough of it. I keep trying to leave. Like my original plan when I left academia was I was going to be a librarian, and that didn't last because I just couldn't stop thinking about Romans, basically. So yeah, I'm addicted to them now.
Well, you say in your biography on your own website that you love and hate them, and I think that's probably true for anyone who's read more than one book on ancient Rome. There's a lot to love, but there's also an enormous amount to hate, and they were very complex people, and it was quite a complicated civilization, probably the most complicated in the ancient world. I mean, certainly we have more sources to quote on the personalities and the stuff. You probably were more interested in the psychology of some of these people than any other civilization.
I think that's probably what gets me into the Romans more than the Greeks, is that the Romans, when they're writing about themselves, are very interested in the psychology of each other. So you get things like Suetonius and even Tacitus, and even when you're reading Livy and things like that, they're very interested in the psychology of the people that they're writing about. So they're not just describing wars and they're not just describing politics. They are really interested in why the historical figures did the things that they did. Whereas when you read Greek writers or you read other kind of historical writers, they're culturally less interested in, like, Thucydides is not very interested in the psychology of Alcibiades, for example. Like, why did he switch backwards and forwards in the Peloponnesian War? He's not very interested in that. He just did. Whereas if it was that was happening in a Roman thing, you'd have entire biographies written about trying to work out what it is and his relationship with his mother that made it so that was like that. And I think that's probably why I ended up stuck to the Romans, because they're so interested in each other, and in exemplar as well, because so much of their thinking is organized around setting up examples. So they set up individual examples of good and bad behavior, which is the whole purpose of Suetonius's biographies, really. Like, you have examples of good things and bad things, which are just consistently fascinating. Like, why is this good behavior to you? And why is this bad behavior? And what makes it, you know, so much of what they consider to be good behavior is not necessarily what we would consider to be good, and is so culturally constructed and culturally specific, which is how I got to the murder book, to be honest.
So when you talk about good and bad, I mean, we can be very facile about this and look at it as a binary, but the Romans had a questionable idea of morality themselves. I mean, certainly, their behavior at home and their behavior as statesmen and their behavior as warriors was very different. All of those categories seem to have carried with them some sort of exceptions for really tremendously awful behavior on all counts. What is your overall perception about the way that Romans, because it's hard for us to imagine 2,000 years later, how they might have approached a subject like morality? Did they have some theoretical idea of what it was and they just never practically lived up to it? Or did they think they were doing a pretty good job?
They pretty much thought they were doing quite a good job for the most part. It is something that they think about a lot. Like Stoic philosophy is like the core of Roman. That's the most popular philosophical worldview. And if you think of big Romans who write about good and bad, then you'll probably think Cicero, and you'll think Seneca, and you'll think Marcus Aurelius. So they're three big Stoic philosophers. They do have a very clear worldview of what they think morality is, and how they think that they should be relating to the world. But at the very core of all of it is that I'm going to be quite facile, but it's quite a selfish worldview. Like the main thing is you put Rome above everything. If you're doing something that's good for Rome, then you are doing good, essentially. And it doesn't matter how many people who are not Roman you have genocided to do it, or how many Romans you have had to kill to do it. If you can make a good enough argument that you have done it for the good of Rome, then it is inherently good. Like they kill each other constantly, and whether it is good or bad generally comes down to whether they can make a good enough argument that it was for the good of Rome. So when Cicero kills Catiline, he makes a good argument. Like he does this extrajudicially in the middle of the night when no one's looking, with no trial. But he makes a good enough argument that he had to do it in order to protect Rome. So everybody's fine with it, and everyone's like, yes, that was a very good murder. Well done. But when Brutus and Cassius and other Brutus killed Julius Caesar, they do not make a good enough argument that it is for the good of Rome.
Or in turn, when Antony eventually kills Cicero.
Yeah, exactly. He can't argue that it's for the good of Rome. It seems like a personal, it is a personal murder. But if he could have kind of done it slightly differently and argued that it was for the good of Rome and he was killing a tyrant or whatever, then he would have got away with it. But that is like the very core of it. And then when you go down, if you can then argue that it's for the good of your family, then you can do whatever you want, essentially. Which is why you see so much nepotism, because nepotism is... And I'm kind of fascinated with this at the moment. In our world, nepotism is very much a bad thing. Like if you are employing someone just because they're your son or your daughter or your cousin, you're like, well, everyone should be there on merit, not because they were related to you. Whereas in Rome, there are examples of people suing other people because they were not advancing their children enough. And they are keeping their sons at home instead of trying to introduce them to society or giving them proper political jobs or paying for them to run for office. So if you are not being nepotistic, then that is considered to be a flaw against you because you are not prioritizing your family in the way that you should be prioritizing your family.
So we've inherited in Western civilization one of those things in terms of the whole glory of Rome thing, because you can still see it happening. There are nations, I won't pick on the United States just because they're the empire of our day, but there are many wars that they've gone to for the glory of, or to protect, or to serve. There's always some political answer for it, the interests of the United States. But we seem to have turned a complete corner on nepotism. Now, that's interesting. The other thing that I think is interesting is that when we look at Rome, there tends to be a focus, and this is largely the fault of history. And, it's not my place to say that the feminists are right, but they may have a very valid point here when it comes to the fact that the women of Rome are given a cursory glance. They're occasionally brought in as support characters. But really in history, and I mean, you've told me, you gave away that you're writing a book about these incredible stories of these unbelievable, powerful, detestable, lovable, ordinary women throughout. And And the influence of those women on Roman society was profound, was it not?
It is. They make up 50% of it. So they're always there. The reason for it is that most of what has survived, in terms of writing is, writing about spheres which are exclusively seen as male. So politics and war, which are areas where women are not allowed to be. So you only see usually when women are being badly behaved and, doing either war things or politics things that they shouldn't be doing. And at no point in Roman history, like the 1,500 years of the Roman Empire, does it really change that women are allowed to enter those spheres. So they are blocked off in that way. But every so often you see how important women were, because they are in every facet of how Romans define themselves, largely because the family is so important. One thing that I was writing this week, actually, is I'm writing about Tanaquil, who is a woman that no one has ever heard of. In fact, I had barely heard of her because I don't really do Republican history that much, but she is the first queen of Rome. So 100 years into the foundation of Rome, they have these 7 kings, and she is the wife of the 5th king, who encourages him to move to Rome so that he can be a man, basically, instead of just being an average Joe in the city that they come from. Wow. She kind of manipulates everything so that he becomes the king. She's then disappears kind of while he's king, but she's involved in all of these slightly hilarious portents which occur, which show who's going to be the next king. So there's one where the next king is Servius Tullius, and he is allegedly conceived because a penis appears in the ashes of the hearth of the house, and she encourages one of her enslaved women to sit on the penis in order to be impregnated by the god of the hearth.
Uh-huh.
And then she takes the baby and raises it, basically. And then when her husband dies, she takes complete control of the city. So she shuts down the palace. She sends away everybody who can know whether he is dead or not. She tells everybody that he's still alive. And then she appears in front of the public and says, look, he's definitely still alive. Tarquinius he's all right. But just for the time being, you're going to pretend that Servius Tullius is the king. And everybody listens. And then she kind of manipulates and is the kingmaker for the next king, which then leads to a kind of minor civil war where Tarquinius Superbus, who is the king who gets overthrown, becomes king, and he becomes the tyrant, who then his son rapes Lucretia, and so she is completely key to basically the fall of the monarchy and to its how it becomes corrupted. And you can see there, like, all of the obvious beats whereby she appears in public. She's got obviously too much power. She's a bit magical, all bad things for women, but she is completely not included in any histories of Rome that are written in the modern world. Like, all of the ones that I have looked at, just kind of skip straight over her. They go Romulus and Remus, mention the kings, and then go straight to Lucretia. And there are easy ways that people just write women out of history, basically. They just skip over them. And they might mention her husband, or they might mention Servius Tullius, but they will just skip to the next bit that includes a man, basically.
I mean, it's such a great story.
Right? Unless you go and sit down and read Livy or read Dionysius of Halicarnassus. Dionysius of Halicarnassus is really good fun because he's really bitchy about other historians. But yeah, unless you sit down and read it, which most people don't, because you go to a historian to tell you the good stories, but so many just skip over the women, basically, because there is a basic narrative of Roman history, and it is the one that they think Romans told about themselves, which is war, politics. But actually women and women's issues and the family and how women relate to men and what a marriage is supposed to be is very much a fundamental part of the story that Romans told about themselves. It's just surprisingly easy for people to not see it for some reason.
Well, this brings me to something which I think is really boast-worthy on your part. You're probably the first person to give all the attention to one of these women who was just at this extraordinary juncture of history. I mean, she was mother to emperors. She was the sister, the daughter. She was involved in this Julio-Claudian family in every which way, Agrippina the Younger. And, many people, when I look at the family tree, I can't believe that she would have lived through the reigns of so many emperors who were all so very different. And she would have presided over a time where, so many of them were killed. There was such controversy. Some of the reigns were short. Some of the reigns were long. She watched the most unbelievable things unfold in historical terms. What a story. If they're going to make a movie about Julius Caesar, they'll get the story of Julius Caesar. But if you made a movie about Agrippina, you'd get the story of ancient Rome.
You would get all the way from Tiberius through to Nero, which is, when people talk about the Romans, what they are mostly thinking of is that Julio-Claudian story, that period which we know from Suetonius and Tacitus. And she's there for pretty much all of it. She is consistently fascinating because she is simultaneously very, very focused on one specific thing, which is getting power for her son, but also is an example of how far you can go if a man lets you, basically. One of the things I find most fascinating about her story is that she is able to get genuine power, like not just influence, which most women are allowed, where you can kind of whisper to men in the back rooms, but because her husband is quite reliant on her. She marries her uncle, Claudius, in case people don't know. But because he becomes so reliant on her to hold his reign together, essentially, that she is able to genuinely have power where she can sit in front of audiences. She can be in the room when people are discussing politics rather than just be in the bedroom later. But as soon as Claudius dies and Nero takes over, all of that is taken away because it turns out that she can't hold any of that by herself. She has no personal ability to hold that power. And as soon as a man says no, it is completely taken away from her. And there is this moment in her story where shortly after Nero takes power, she attempts to sit in on a delegation from a foreign power, from the Armenians. And she comes in, and she's been doing this for years with her husband. She's been sitting in on these political conversations about what we're going to do in foreign countries. And she has been involved in who is going to be the next governor of Judea and who is going to, what is our foreign policy here going to be? But Nero stands up and says no and removes her from the room, basically. And it's just such a humiliating moment because he doesn't respect her as a person. He doesn't respect her as an advisor. Her gender is completely in the way of everything for her. And that's all they see when they look at her. And she is removed to a back room and pushed back into having influence. And it is such a revealing example of how much she thought she could innovate and how much she thought she was there because she deserved it and that she could be an individual within this space who was really good at being a diplomat, really good at being a politician, but how very wrong she was because in the end, that gender division between what you're allowed to do because you're a woman just is a complete blockade that she can never get over. It's a wall between her ability to do it and whether she actually is allowed to do it. And it's just such a moment where you could just feel the humiliation. Like you could imagine being her and feel the agony, basically, of being rejected.
I have a bunch of questions here from Anthony, who's just devastated he couldn't join us today, the technical issues. He wants to know, because he also read Agrippina, and he said, why are you not a fan of Augustus?
I am a fan of Augustus. He just scares the life out of me because he's so ruthless. He's so smart. And I find, so what he does is he's 19 years old. He's a sickly 19-year-old and his great uncle dies. And he finds out that he has been named in the will and his great uncle has been murdered by his best friend. and Octavian's not even in the country. He's a child. He's way too young. Romans kind of, for men anyway, they like age. Like you're not supposed to do stuff until you're 40. They don't think that you are in a proper adult until you're in your 30s. They think that 19-year-olds are still children. So he could have just gone, oh, well, that sucks for me, and kind of gone off and lived a happy life somewhere, or taken the money and run, basically. But instead, he marches straight back to Rome, raises an army, declares himself the new Julius Caesar, changes his name, and then starts threatening people with swords, saying, you murdered my father and I'm going to get revenge. And just completely overturns the entire political system, and then spends the next 2 decades waging civil wars and destroying everybody ruthlessly, like just with a vision that he is going to take everything over. And then as soon as he's killed everybody, like just completely wiped out every potential challenger to his sole power, he flips and is like, I'm a nice guy now, and gets himself renamed Augustus, which is like this peaceful, religious, like kind of Dalai Lama-esque vision, and then completely presents himself, and then starts a complete cultural renaissance where he rewrites the entire story of Rome in his own image. And I just think the single-minded, ruthless, like, guts of it basically is terrifying. And I kind of love him because he is so good at what he does. Like, he understands how to delegate what he's not good at. He understands that in order to get people to accept single person rule, he's going to have to completely change how people see themselves and see Rome. And so he's going to pay people to retell the story of Rome from the beginning. He's going to get Virgil involved. He's going to get poets involved. He's going to get historians involved. He's going to make buildings which retell the story so that he's the pinnacle of it. And all of it is so impressive, but also utterly, utterly terrifying. Like, if you came up against him, I would run away because he just scares the life out of me, basically. I think it was like a little... I can't imagine having that vision and then pursuing it through for the rest of your life, and being so wildly successful at it. But yeah, he's just very scary.
So one of the other things that Anthony wanted me to ask you is, he said, considering how much was actually documented by the Romans themselves and how much of it was propaganda, as you've hinted at with Augustus, how much of it can we actually trust? I mean, even Julius Caesar's death wasn't documented until years after the fact. And how do we know any of it's true?
Well, that's a good question. I always think that as you can trust it as far as you are aware that it has a purpose, basically. So all of the sources that we have a purpose. They're writing to an end. So when you're reading history, Roman history is pretty explicit. Like, Tacitus is very explicit, and so is Livy, that they're writing moral history, that you are to learn moral lessons from their stories that they're going to tell you. Which means that what you can learn is that they are going to manipulate the events that occurred, that they're telling you about, in order to fit the morals that you want them to learn. So you might not learn precisely what happened, but you're going to learn what at least a subset of the Romans wanted to tell you what happened, or wanted you to learn from it. And from that, you can learn, what do they think is a good behavior for a leader? What do they think is bad behavior from a leader? What do they think the correct position of the Senate is? What do they think the correct position for a general is? And you might not learn precisely X did Y, but you can learn that it's useful for Roman to say that X did Y because it leads into this moral lesson. So we know that this moral lesson is something that they thought was good behavior. So it's levels of analysis, basically. And you can't trust that they are going to tell you the truth about what happened, but they're going to tell you a truth, and that truth is as useful as the truth. Sometimes you're really lucky, like with Julius Caesar's murder, for example. We have 5 tellings of Julius Caesar's murder. The first one is from during Augustus's reign, so it has a very specific goal, which is to talk about how Julius Caesar was the greatest man who ever lived because he is Augustus's father, and therefore it was all very bad. And then they kind of spread out through history. But the interesting thing about them is that they diverge in some details, and they diverge in how they tell it as to whether the assassins are assassins who are working for the good of the state, or whether they are bad murderers who are selfishly working for their own purposes. But the details of what they tell are basically the same every time. And they work to the same beats of the story of what happened that day. So you get from each different telling a different interpretation. But quite often when you get various tellings of the same event, the details are broadly the same. So Roman historians and biographers didn't like to make up stuff from whole cloth. They would hit certain beats. It's like they're telling historical fiction. Like if you were to tell the story of Henry VIII, you would hit specific beats of like his youth, and then he was going to be the emperor of, the Holy Roman Emperor, and then he has one marriage, two marriage, three marriage, but the way that you tell it might be slightly different depending on whether you think Henry is great or how you feel about Anne Boleyn. But the story that you told would basically be the same as anybody else telling that story. Just your interpretation would be different. So that's what we get from the Romans. And you just have to be very aware that they are interpreting.
Yeah, it almost feels like what we do with children in nursery school. We teach them a fairy tale, but the moral of the story is more important than the name of the princess or the dragon or anything else.
Exactly. And while I'm writing about the mythical beginnings of Rome at the moment, and I do compare it to fairy tales because they will tell the story of, Tanaquil or Lucretia or whatever, but they interpret it for their own time. So if they're writing it in the time of Augustus, then it has a specific perspective, but then when it's retold 200 years later, it has a slightly different perspective because they're writing it for a time when emperors everybody knows that emperors are the norm, and we have different problems now. And it's much the same way that if you took a telling of Cinderella, like the original telling, and then you've got like a telling from the 1950s or a telling from today, the story broadly the same, but it's completely different perspectives.
Yeah. We can even see that now with Snow White and the Seven Dwarves. And, there's all sorts of controversy around, can we still refer to the dwarves, even though they're mythical creatures in the book, as being dwarves? Because,
exactly.
There's an actor who's upset about it because he's a dwarf or whatever it might be. But as times change, so the story adapts to that time for the telling. You know what's interesting to me, and you're the best person to ask this. If you could, to me, heaven would be a time machine. But if you could go back in time, what would be the best thing for you to see in ancient Rome? There's so many great events that have formed what we know about the modern world.
This is very selfish, but I would actually really love to see one of the great triumphs of either Pompey or Julius Caesar. Pompey has like 4, and Julius Caesar at one point has 3 triumphs in 1 week. And each one is to celebrate another great victory in Europe. And I would just love to see what a great triumph looks like when you have thousands of soldiers and all of the booty that they've got, and they talk about making basically like papier-mâché mountains and carrying them through the streets. And I would love to see what a proper triumph looks like that is, when you think about the glory of Rome, what I think about is a triumph, basically, like when they're celebrating their own glory as conquerors and dragging enslaved people behind them. But I would just love to see how they present a triumph. It sounds brilliant, in a terrifying kind of way. But yeah, I would love to go and see that. If I could go back to like one moment, it would be a day of one of Julius Caesar's triumphs.
Wow, absolutely. So I went to Rome for the first time, I'm embarrassed to say, in 2019. And I decided as soon as I'd arrived that I had to do a little pilgrimage up to the Capitoline Hill and, do what the Roman emperors would have done and go straight to the Temple of Jupiter Optimus Maximus and kind of pay my respects. And then I could go and have a look at the Forum and everything else. And it felt very spooky to me because that place it's so evocative for so many of us who read, ancient history, who study this kind of thing and who have an interest in it. And there are many, many people who are just for some or other reason attracted to it. And you've unpacked some of those reasons already. the society, the power, the glory, the military expeditions, the brash, vulgar kind of confidence of ancient Rome. I think we look back on now, and it's like when you read stuff that was written by sort of Kipling at the height of the British Empire. It's so
yeah, it is
so arrogant, and at the same time, we don't do that anymore. If anyone spoke like that now, they'd be chased out of town. But to me, the interesting thing about that whole Julio-Claudian period, and Agrippina, as you mentioned earlier, lived at such an interesting crossroads of history. That whole line was wiped out. There wasn't a single descendant left after Nero had finished his business. There was something else that I picked up in your book that I wanted you to comment on, murder being a big part of this. In the book that I'm reading at the moment, there are something like 26 emperors who were murdered in 50 years that you picked up on. I mean, this is just extraordinary.
Yeah. There's the 3rd century crisis, which is a particular time where they basically allowed the imperial position to become a military dictatorship, essentially, whereby any old general could become emperor as long as enough soldiers supported him. And the Senate became sort of very, very weak and was completely unable to stop any old legion from declaring their own guy as emperor. So you have these just constant wars where one guy's coming forward saying that he's the emperor and he'll turn up in Rome, or sometimes they don't even bother to turn up in Rome. And the Senate will go, okay, yes, he's the emperor. And then 6 months later, some other guy says, oh, no, wait, I'm the emperor. And then he goes to war with the previous emperor and they fight, and one of them wins, and then the Senate goes, okay, yeah, sure, you're the emperor now, please don't hurt us. And that cycle just repeats over and over again. And sometimes they last for 3 or 4 years. Sometimes you get like a tiny dynasty of like one guy who lasts for, so within that, I think there's the Gordian 1 and Gordian 2, who manage to last for like 15 years in there, and they do okay and manage to pass it on to his son, and then his son is immediately killed. But for the most part, they allow the position to be almost meritocratic, which is that anybody can do it, because at almost no point does anything get successfully passed down for 3 generations. It never manages to go from father to son to son. Wow. Sometimes it manages to go from father to son, but that son is almost always executed. In fact, if you want to list bad emperors, almost all of them are ones who inherit the throne, because there is also something deep in the way that Romans bring up their sons within the imperial court that means that they almost cannot be good emperors. Like, as soon as you get a Caligula, for example, raised to be an emperor, terrible. Nero raised to be an emperor, awful. Caracalla, rubbish. Domitian, all of them are raised within the court, inherit the throne, are rubbish.
Emma, thank you so much for talking to us today. It's such a great pleasure to have you on, and all the best with the rest of your projects. I'm absolutely convinced that they will continue to enthrall us. You tell the stories of history with such an excitement and a passion. It just makes it an absolute pleasure to hear you. And I hope we'll hear from you again soon and we can talk to you about your next book.
I hope so. Hopefully will be able to be there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll make up for it, I promise. Thank you so much. Blind History is brought to you by Taylor Blinds and Shutters. All the episodes are available on the cliffcentral.com website and app, as well as Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. What's your biggest Roman history bugbear? What is the myth that you wish you could bust, that you could go back and see for yourself and figure out what happened? Because there are so many mysteries and unresolved questions. Where do you start?
Oh my God. Okay, the one that I would like to bust, the one that always just makes my eye twitch when I see it, is that Caligula made his horse a consul. Drives me mental. Whenever I see it, I get just furious about it. And no matter how hard I tell people that he definitely didn't, it doesn't matter. It's too late now. That's just in the ether. But that would be like the one myth that I would bust.